Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we are going to understand a very important question from the Leetcode is minimum operations to make array elements 0. And this type of question is very important to understand because obviously in the Leetcode contest, you will see mostly in these type of questions, even if you are going for the FANG interviews, you will see that question. Okay, the question is very important based on the pattern wise. Okay, let's talk about the question. What we have given question saying that you are given a 2D array that is called queries, where queries at I we have two things, we have left and right we have. So for each queries, you can say we have an array and it's an integer nums, we can say, that consists of elements from L to R, and both are inclusive. Okay, so in an operation you can either select the two elements from the array and then you can replace these elements, right? So our task is to determine the minimum number of operations required to reduce all the elements. This we can say that means 0, and return the sum of all the queries, and then you have to do the operations. You will pause this, you can go through the example. I will discuss in the detail, so don't worry. And then we have given some constant like this, where the range is very good, we have given here. Okay, I hope you gone through the question. Let's understand. So what question saying that? So this question 3495 is saying that minimum operations we have to find to make the array elements is 0. Very first, understand what is query. Query is a 2D array we have given. Okay, and 2D array is look like this one, right? And the queries at I is having left and right. Okay, this is a kind of range we can say that we have given for each index. Okay, so an array element is we can say this is nothing but an array, right? And this array is a integers of nums, we can say. This is called nums, we can say. And these nums consist of the elements from L to R. What is this? We'll talk much more about this, don't worry. Okay, so this is what we have given. So now it is saying that if you know that the queries contains what, the left and right, means the array, you can say this is array elements that start from L and going to R, right? So the nums consist of elements ranging from L to R. Fine. So in each operations, right, what you need to do, you can choose A and B from the array elements. So let's suppose there is some elements start from L and going to the R, and both in the inclusive range, there is a couple of elements will be there, right? That start from L and going to the R, right? Many elements will be there. From there you have to take two elements, A and B. Okay, and then you have to replace them by their floor value. Floor means a by 4, let's suppose, and b by 4 and its floor value. So, and you have to apply the rules like this rule that we are talking about, these two rules, right? Choose and replace things. Okay, so very first you have to choose the two elements from where, the array, and then you have to replace with their floor value by 4. Okay, and then you have to find the minimum number of operations. So all these operations, how many operations you require, you need to find that operations to make this, all this value is a 0. I hope you understand the questions, right? So I know we have given examples. So for very first example, if we'll go through, so what you will observe, we have given queries. So if you want to understand the queries, let's suppose, so queries is queries at I, let's suppose at I is 0 and 1, two things we have given. So at 0 we have 1 2, and at 1 we have 2 4, correct? Means if we'll represent in a grid form, means these are talking about the array, right? So if you form in the 2D array, right, this is actually we have the array, but if you talk about the each array elements contains this array, right? Each element, each queries contains array, right? 1 2, or there will be more elements from 2 to 4. So right, so we can say that. Okay, it means what? So if we have the range 1 2, it means there is the index queries at I, that is we talk about 0, we have simple array that have the range we have given 1 2, means there is two elements will be there. When we talk about 1, it means we have 2 to 4, the range means this is left range and this is right range. So what are the elements will be there? We'll say 2 is the lower bound, right? So it will be 3 and the 4 the upper bound. So this is what we have given in here. So if you will say, okay, so I'm representing this one in this form, no, so this will not be the correct. Okay, so each element you have to understand that each elements like this you should not represent like this. Okay, it means you have to say that each queries, when the query is saying that, right, it means you have to think like this. Okay, means at each index you will have to think this, there is lower bound. So you can say at index query at I, this is our lower bound and this is upper bound, right? But you cannot say this is the element that we have here. Okay, very first you should understand like this. Okay, now let's talk about when I'm talking about index at 0, right? So at query 0 we know that there is two elements will be there, 1 and 2, correct? So we'll say array element 1 2 means this is our initial array, right? So initial array we have. So now what we will do, we'll choose the two values, let's suppose 0 and 1. So nums at 0 and nums at 1 we will take, and we'll do the replacement, right? This is the very first rule. And second rule, we have to replace with the float values. Their float value is 1 by 4, 2 by 4 will do, right? So at 0 we have this, and at 1 we have 2. So we'll take their float values. Okay, so now we have understand. So queries at 0 what we have is 1 we have, at 2 we have is 1, right? This is our initial array. Very first we have chosen what two things we have to choose, nums at 0 and nums at 1, means this is our A and this is our B. Now what we need to do, we have to replace by therefore A by 4 and B by 4 we have to do, and then we have to take the float values, right? So if you'll do this float value, you will see that it will get what, 0 and 0, right? So when we do 0 by when we get the float value 0 by 0 0 0, right, in that case we are done. We don't need to do further, because this is our minimum number of operation which is required to make the array, right? Queries at 0, let's suppose for this query is 0 0, so we got 1. Let's talk about when queries at 1. Okay, so for queries at 1 what we need to do, we have given left bound and right bound, right? And both are inclusive in the range. So if we'll say the initial array is nothing but what, 2 3 4, as I told you, this is nothing but your nums, right? From here, out of the three elements you have to choose two elements. Let's choose the very first element is nums at 0, and then we'll take nums at 4, nums at 2, that is 4. Okay, if we'll do the very first, we have chosen this one, the step 1 is completed. Step 2, we have to replace the element. So if we'll do the replacement and you have to find the float value, right, you will get what, 0, and here you will get 1. So the array now becomes from here to here is what, here we replaces 0 and this is 1. Now we have 0 3 and 1. Now it is not all are 0, right? Here we need to make this one is a 0 and this one we have to make the 0. It means we need another operation. So this is operation 1 we have performed. Let's do the operation number 2. So very first we have seen that our array is current situation, that array is this one, right? Sorry, we should not agree. So 0 at 0 we have already 0, so we will not choose this one. So it means we have to choose these two elements, means index 1 and index 2 we have to choose. So operations 2 we are going to use, where we have to choose two elements, the nums at 1 and nums at 2, means we are talking about the non-zero. So we'll replace the value, right? How? We'll take the float value of this and we'll find the, we are getting the 0. Okay, so your new array becomes what, is 0 0 0. It means queries at 1 is also became 0, but this time it's take how many operations, 2 operations we require, right? Operations number is 2, so 2, and this is for the operation number 1, right? Means this is for the queries at 0 and this is queries at 1, right? So in both queries, right, so in both queries you will get what, total number of sums we have to calculate. So it will give you 3, means for query 0 we got 1 operations, for query 2 we get 2 operations, and this is what we have to say that. Okay, so that's all we have here for example 1. Let's continue to understand the problem statements. So let's understand some idea, right, to understand how to approach this type of problem. Okay, so very first we will iterate through, let's suppose some buckets is a kind of the query is nothing kind of, you can say buckets, right? So each buckets contains the what, some range we can say, and we have to find the number of what do you call, operations. Okay, we have to find. Okay, so let's try to understand what I'm saying. Okay, so can we say that we have some buckets, right? And we will iterate through the bucket of numbers, right? And we'll say that uh, the value that we are going to use is, let's suppose, first understand like this. So we have bucket, we have, right? In the bucket one, right, we are talking about the index. Bucket one is nothing but index. Okay, so at each index means at each query, right? This is a query, we can say queries at I, we can say, and we assume this query is at I is nothing but a bucket. So this bucket one having some elements, right, means I want a function that will give you the range, right? What is the range we have is, it says that it is having 1 to 3. Okay, if the range is 1 to 3, we are getting the total number of operations is what, 1. Just understand, when we talk about the bucket 2, right, the x is the range between, let's call 4 to 15. Okay, and this time it gives you the range t to the power what, 2. How many is 2? Similarly, if we'll talk about the bucket 3, we'll say the range will become between let's suppose now it is 16 and it will go to 63. Why I'm taking that, you will understand, don't worry. Now let's suppose t is nothing but what, is 3. Like that, if you say, so in general, can we say, right, in general, can we say that we have a bucket, that is called k. Okay, it means for bucket k means we are talking about queries at I, and this query is nothing but k, query k. So bucket k having similarly is that we have some element, right, and the value is nothing but what, 4 to the power k minus 1, if you observe, and the lower, this is our lower bound. So what will be the upper bound? Upper bound will be 4 to the power k minus 1. Can we say that, right? So this is what we have to understand. Okay, and in this way we can say t equal to nothing but k. Okay, I hope you understand, right? So here when we talk about let's suppose 3, right, so 16 to the power is what, 4 to the power 3 is become what, 64, right? This is our bound. Now I think I'm doing mistake here. Let's talk about here. Okay, so what will become this one? Okay, so this will become, I understand, it will become k minus 1. Okay, this will become k minus 1 here. Mm, 4 and k minus 1. Okay, that is why we are seeing here 16, right? So if you say 4 and it will take the shift, right, and you will take what, k minus 1 is 3, that is 2, and that we will get what, 16, right? So we have to apply like this. Okay, so this is what we will get. I hope you understand, right? So in general, we can say for bucket k, this will be the range and this is t equal to k. It means we have a function that takes k, that takes x. We have function t that takes what, x, and we iterate through the bucket of numbers, we can say bucket of numbers, we can say, whose we can say t is a function that takes x, and this is the, you can say, number of floor divisible by 4 steps to 0, right? We can say number of floor divisible, right, by 4 steps to 0. Can we see that? And this is what we are it is happening here. Okay, means if we'll create a function, right, that will give you the count in the bucket, and the bucket level means we are good to go, right? That's what I'm talking about. Let's suppose we have a function, let's call get operations, we'll say. And this get operation, if you find give the value n, means these get operations will add what? It will add count, it will count in bucket, we can say, and it will multiply the bucket level we can say, right? And so until we'll do this job until each bucket is not n, right? Let's understand how. So if I'll say let's talk about get ops, right? And we'll have two value. Okay, so we have query that takes 1 and 2, right? Can we see that? Query at 0, 1, whatever do you take this. So let's suppose we'll take 0, so we'll take 1, 2 we have. So let's understand that we have some stock, go through the array table. Okay, so when n equal to 2, when n equal to 2, let's, how many iteration will be there? Let's talk about the iteration. This is your iteration, and it takes 1, means the power is what? Means power is also 1, right? So we'll get 1. What is the operations required? How many operations required? We'll say 1. So next will become what? It will give you 4. What will be the left value? Left is 1, and the right, if we'll talk about, is, now we have to take the mean value, right? Mean of 2 and 3, and it will give you 2. Now if you know this, right, you can find the count, right? This is our, we are getting the count. Just you need to do what? Result after the operation is 2 into 1, you will get 2, right? And so we'll say power is equal to, next, that we are getting from 4, that loops are ends when 4 is greater than n, and that is why we'll say gets at 2, gets operation at 2 will get how many operations? Will get 2 operations. I hope understands, right? You can also understand like this. Let's suppose how. So let me do a little simple. Okay, so we know the numbers between 1 to 2 is nothing but what? The numbers 1 to 2 are in where? In the first bucket. Can we say that? That I have shown you. In the first bucket means t equal to 1. It means what? Means total single element division is 2, right? Total single division elements division is what? Is 2, right? So for queries that we are talking about 1 2, we have to compute s, right? And the s, if we're going to compute, it will, we have to compute gets ops at 2 minus get ops at 0. If we know that gets ops will give you 2, it means gets off will gives us what? Is 0, and that is why we are getting 2. Means the operation required is 2 plus 1, the very first, and so we have to divide by 2, right? So it will give you 1, means we have to take the selling value again, right? Means selling value of 2 by 2. Let's talk about here. So if we'll take the selling value 2 by 2, and it will give you what? Is 1. Understand? So that is what happening. So let's try to understand. We have gets operations at 4, right? And we have a get operation at 1. So this is a very good example when we're talking about 2 4. Okay, so very first we'll calculate the gets operation 4, where n equal to what is 4. So how many iterations are there? We'll say 2 iterations. When iteration is 1, power is getting what is 1. Then we say operation is what 1. What is next? We'll say 4. What is at left is 1. What is at right? We have to take the mean, right? So we'll take the mean first. We'll say 4 and 3, we'll get 3, right? And then the result after this, so you have to take 3 into 1 is 1. Remember the same table that I have taught you, right? We'll get 3. Okay, similarly for operation 2, iteration 2, we'll get 4, power is 4, we'll get operation is 2, next is 16, left is 4, then you have to take the right, and for the right you have to take the mean again, right? So we'll take the mean of 4 and 15, you will get what is 4. So we'll say 4. So you have to take the RES, right? So you know RES you have to take, means 3 plus 1 into 2, you will get what 5. So total how many you will get? So we'll say for the operations, this one power is 16. So the ends at here, right? So operation will give you 5 that we have found here total. Okay, similarly you find the operation at 1. For the operation at 1, what you need to do, iteration will be 1, only one iteration will be there, you know, power will be 1, operation will be what is 1, next will be at what is 4, left will be 1, right? You have to take the minimum, right? Minimum you have to find. So when we are going to find the minimum, 1 and 3, what is the minimum is 1. So we'll say 1. What is RES? You have to find RES. You will get the RES is also 1. It means this get operations will give you 1. I hope you understand. So we know that we got the 5 and we get the 1. You just do the minus, means 5 minus 1 is 4. You will get the answer 4. But this is our S. You have to find what operations. So for the operation you will do 4 plus 1 by 2 and you will get 2. Okay, so so total operations earlier was what? We'll say 1 plus 2 and you will get 3. So either this way you will understand the approach way or that approach way. In both cases you have seen that you are getting 3 and that is our answer is coming. Okay, so it's tricky is there that you have to understand the tree. Don't worry if you don't understand, I'll show you in the code, you will understand. Very first let's understand we have given these queries, right? And what we need to do, we have to find the total operations, right? Minimum operations, we can say that. Okay, so we have to iterate over the queries. We know that at each query we have an array, right? We can say q and you can say nums also. So you will get at the query we have at 0 will get the left bound, and at query this one will get, query at 1 will get what is this one. Okay, so when we'll find the S, right, you know that at the right and at the left we have to find. So when we are finding from the left, you have to do what? 1 minus here, right? In that case, so you can find the exact S, right? What you need to do, just you have to find the total, right? In that case you have to do S plus 1 and divide by 2, so you can get the selling value, this one. Okay, and you have to return the total. Now understand how you find the ops. So to find the ops, right, what you need to do, you will check the values, right? Then you have to find the RES, right? And you have to return this RES result. So very first we know that we have to take the power, right? Means 4 to the power 0, means we have to divide by what floor value, right? And where we want, let's suppose we have sum, we have, right, from 1 to n, and this is our tx, right, where tx is the number of what float division by 4. We have to take the steps and we have to reach to 0, right? For that we have to take the power, right? And there will be some operations, right? So what we need to do, we will take the power should be less than equal to n, and in that case each time we'll add one value here, right? And we'll go for the, we will find the next, then you will find the left, and you find the right. Okay, means for left, right, left unfound we have to find, and you have to find the count, what is the count is coming. Then you will multiply both and you will get the result, right? And you have to prepare the bucket. So once you prepare the bucket for the next, right, you have to say, okay, this is my next. You update the power. So now the power will get updated. Okay, so each time you are multiplying the power with 4, right? And so your power is increasing. Okay, and that's why when we find the right, you can say left and right, it is easy to find the count, right? Once you find the count, you just need to multiply it with the ops and you will return the res. Okay, so that's what I have. Let me know in the comment section that you understood or not, right? And anyways, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. I'll try to put the dry run in the comment box. Let me know if you need the dry run. I'll put the comment so you will write the table on your notebook. Okay, anyways, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.